Hello. So today I will show you how to do these sleeves, this shrug. We will be using leftover yarn and we'll be using the Tunisian crochet technique, double-ended but worked flat. Firstly, we need to get together all our leftover yarn, preferably all the same yarn weight. And we need to create two balls and just roll up some yarn and join the different colors with the fisherman's knot. The fisherman knot works very, very well. Let me adjust my camera here. So I'll show you how to join yarn together. This is especially useful when using natural fibers. It is very sturdy. So we do one knot with this end of the yarn, then we take the other end and make another knot on the other side. As you can see, okay. Now pull tightly. Now we have one knot there, one knot here, and pull gently. And now, as you can see, I'm pulling really, really hard and it's quite sturdy. So then you just have to cut that end and this end and then roll up your balls of yarn with the colors of your choice. And we need two. Then we need to have stitch markers. So have two stitch markers handy for the section where we have to create the hole for the head, the space for the head. And we need a double-ended hook. Now, you can use this hook, which is a short double-ended hook. However, because we will be working with a lot of loops, you will need to turn your work very, very often. So if you want to avoid having to turn your work that often, you can opt for a different tool here, and we can use this type of tool, which is two identical hooks linked up with a cable like this. Now, depending on the width or the length, I should say, of your work, you can change the cable for a much longer cable, and therefore you will only have to turn your work over once for each pass. Now, to begin, we need to determine how many chains we will make. So basically, we will chain a number of chains that will equal the measurement between that wrist, let's say that wrist, and to that wrist, the other wrist, in that length. Okay, so add a few stitches if you want. So we create our foundation chain, chain the number of chains that is desired or needed. And now we will work in the back bumps. So we start in the second chain from the hook and we work in the back bumps, as you can see right there. So we insert our hook, we pull up a chain, and we leave it on the hook. Don't forget that the first loop on the hook does count as a stitch. So, okay, now we will proceed with the rest of the foundation row. And we go get our loops in the remaining back bumps. As such. Now, once we have all our loops on our hook, we must now proceed to the return pass. Now, as we're working flat with a double-ended hook, we must turn the work around, slide the loops to the other side of the hook, and we will now introduce a new strand from the second ball to proceed with our return pass. So now we do our little magic knot here. And this new loop counts as the yarn over. So we just pull through that first loop, then we yarn over again, and we pull through 2 loops on the hook, and we proceed as follows. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is a standard return pass. And we finish the row. So now we've completed the return pass of the foundation row. Now we will proceed to the forward pass with that strand on that side. We will be doing a Tunisian simple stitch extended. So basically a TES, I should repeat that, it's a Tunisian extended simple stitch. So we start with a chain 1 to create the height. We insert the hook under the vertical bar of the next stitch, and then we chain 1. Always leaving the loop on the hook. So this stitch is a very airy stitch, very lacy stitch. And now we are doing the forward pass. As we are nearing the end of this row, we will complete the forward pass of this row, and we will work in the last stitch. Now the last stitch, or the end stitch of the foundation row, is slightly different, so we'll just insert it there like that. Chain 1 to create the height. So now we've finished the forward pass, and again, as I indicated, when we are working flat with a double-ended hook, we must now turn the work over, slide the loops to the other side, to the other end of the hook, and we proceed with the return pass with the other strand. And it's a standard return pass, so it's yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and so on. And now we're completing the return pass of our first row. Don't worry about the loose end there, you just have to pull on it. So now we need to proceed to row number 2, the second row, and the forward pass we keep on this side, and we use the strand we just finished with. So we continue with our Tunisian extended stitch. So we chain 1 to create that height. We insert the hook under the next vertical bar and we chain 1, exactly like that. And we continue for the rest of the row. Now at the end of the row, where to insert your hook, you can see there's a nice gap there. So that's where you will insert your hook. Let me put this down for a second. I'll show you exactly where you insert your hook, right there. So you see, when you insert your hook, you will see the 2 vertical bars at the end. That's what you want. So you insert your hook there and you pull up a loop and then you chain 1, because again, we have to maintain that height. And that completes the forward pass on that side. So now we need to turn the work over, slide the loops again to the other side, grab the other strand to then move on and complete the return pass. So standard return pass again, nothing changes. So now we need to determine how long or how high you want your shrug to be before we start doing a bit of the splitting for the head. Okay, so you will proceed with a number of rows until you reach the desired height. Then you sort of split in 2 and you count the number of stitches on one side, same number of stitches on the other side, and you leave room there for the head. So that you put a stitch marker in one spot and a stitch marker in the other spot. So this is a small scale example of what you will be doing when you need to create the space for the head. So I have a certain number of stitches on either side of my stitch markers. I have 9 here in the middle. Okay, and that's where I will create loops, because this particular shrug is made in one piece. So the only sewing that exists is under the arms. So we proceed, we continue, we do our row of extended stitch. So we chain 1 and we do the TES in the next stitches until the stitch marker. We work in the stitch marker, and as of this point we will be creating loops. Okay, and so if I have here in my example, I have 9 stitches that I will be skipping, so I will need to create 9 loops. So how do we create these loops? basically, you're going to wind the strand around your finger, hold the loop on the hook with your index finger, hold it very, very as tightly as you can. Insert your hook there to go grab the second strand, pull it up, and then with your finger just pull the strand away. So now you have a loop and it has a little knot at the bottom. Doesn't matter if it's a bit loose, it'll be rectified later on. So now hold that loop on the hook with your index finger, wind it around your finger there, grab, that's right, and now you pull. Doesn't matter if it's loose, like I said, because this particular stitch is a very airy and loose stitch anyway, so it'll fix itself after, especially if you do a finishing round at the end. So again, roll the strand around your fingers, go grab your loop there, pull, and there, another loop. So like I said, I have here in my example, I have 9 loops to create. When you make your shrug, depending on how many loops you need to create, that's the number that you'll do, and then you will skip the same number of stitches to go work in the next stitch marker. So now I have my 9 loops, so I'm going to go work in where the next stitch marker is, and I'm going to just continue with the stitch pattern. So in this case it's my Tunisian extended stitch, extended simple stitch, and chain 1, that's right. So I just continue like that until the end of the row. And again, at the end stitch, you see the 2 vertical bars, chain 1, and this is how it will look. Obviously, that's a much smaller scale. And now you proceed to the return pass. So you turn your work over, you slide the loops to the other side, and you grab your other strand, and you do your return pass, the standard return pass. When you start approaching the loops that you've added, be careful. Hold on to the bottom of the loop there, the part where there's the little knot. Just hold on to it so that you can pull your hook through. Don't worry about the loose stitches, like I said. So just, gently pass through. Take your time. And now, yeah, we complete the row. It's as simple as that. And that's how it's going to look like. So basically, we proceed to the next row and we will work On that side, we will do our extended stitch along. We will work into those loops right there, into those vertical bars as if they were regular stitches. And so we continue creating more rows to make the other side. So basically, it'll look something like this. Shrug with sleeves. You have the opening here for the head, as you can see. And so you fold in two, and you either sew or stitch with the stitch of your choice under the arms to create the sleeve on that side. You leave an opening, obviously. You stitch or sew on the other side for the other part of the sleeve. And you can do a finishing round like I did. I created a finishing round of single crochet stitches, and I added little picot stitches as a little touch of and I did the same for the opening at the bottom, and I did the same for the sleeves, as you can see. And this is it. This is the tutorial for the Shrug sleeves using Tunisian crochet slat. So happy crochet!